Hey everybody, Jeremiah Allen here to offer you another, episode of the Growth Seminar. We've taken this seminar and moved it off of a paid class to just making it available on Facebook and YouTube for people to be able to watch and ask questions, that sort of thing. If you are interested in learning more or going deeper into these topics, head on over to fatbullfrog.com where we can. There are a couple of ways that we can get in touch with each other so that I can kind of step in more to help with your brand, either as an investor, a coach, or strategist, a couple of different things like that. Anyhow, today I want to talk about how to work on or how to figure out who is in your audience, right? Who you should be talking to. And it's going to be different than you might think. One of the things, well, first, a little bit about me. I'm Jeremiah Allen. I'm an investor and strategist who helps small to medium-sized e-commerce companies drive growth. I've been doing it since 1997. And so the whole purpose of these videos is to make it where I can share the information with you. There's a lot of people I'd like to be able to help, especially with our current economic environment, and that where it's just not feasible for us to put together a client relationship. And so this is my attempt to be able to do that, to hopefully help you drive growth for your e-commerce company. And the way that what we're going to talk about today is kind of how I drive growth. We're only going to go into one little part of one big part, which is voice and messaging. If you're going to talk to people, if you're going to work on your voice and messaging, you've got to have a really clear idea of who you're trying to talk to in the first place. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The question we'll be asking is who is in your market, and we're going to use a Facebook tool. If you've got a Facebook ads account, you can go to the section through the little mega menu up at the top and get to Audience Insights. That's the tool we'll be using today. But I want to talk just for a minute briefly about kind of the old school way of doing this and what works much better in today's environment. So the old school way was to develop an avatar. And with your avatar, you would, an avatar was like a persona, a thing that you would create to kind of identify who you were trying to talk to, and you made most of it up, truthfully. I've taken a lot of marketing courses and that sort of thing, and a lot of people, a long time ago, would say, well, you got to start off building an avatar. Heck, some people still say that today. They say you got to build an avatar, and your avatar, maybe if you've got this company, your avatar is mostly female, and she tends to be middle-aged, and she drives a sedan and takes her kids to soccer, and you like really kind of do a lot of guesswork, and you can do some extensive testing to figure out if you're actually right. But then what you do is you try and take all of your messaging and talk to that person or people like that person. And a brand might have multiple avatars that they speak to, which is really hard to keep sorted out. Today you can go with a lot broader of a group that you're targeting, and kind of let the your content filter who's into what you're talking about, and then you can advertise more to them later through different kinds of targeting. We're not going to go into that a ton here, but it's critical that you understand who you're trying to talk to. So today, instead of trying to make up an avatar and guess what magazines they read and that sort of thing, we're going to look at some real examples and know who is in the market for a couple of different companies. And we do this using algorithms. There are tons of predictive analytic and machine learning algorithms that are available in a way that Facebook makes them available, for example, in a way that you don't have to be a data scientist. You don't have to have a PhD and know how to do all the kinds of things that you used to have to know how to do to be able to get this stuff right. So we're going to let the algorithms do the targeting for us. We're going to let them tell us who we're talking to, and we're going to find out who our people are. So again, this is the Facebook Audience Insights tool. Let's for today's example, let's use a few cosmetics companies. And these are popular companies. You may have heard of some of them. If you're into cosmetics, chances are you've heard of at least one of them. We're going to look and see, kind of what they're doing right and what things we can learn from them. The three companies are ColourPop, Jeffree Star Cosmetics, and SoCo Glam. ColourPop They focus a lot on colors and that kind of thing. They put together really great color palettes for people to use. Jeffree Star is a makeup artist. He's got a background as a I don't know if he was a singer, but a musician. Several years ago, started as a makeup company. And Soko Glam is kind of Korean beauty. So these are all a little bit different. We're going to kind of check into them and do a little bit of a deep dive here. So let's look at ColourPop first. When we go into Facebook's Audience Insights tool, we can drill down and put in, we're looking for people who are interested in ColourPop. Now, this won't work with every brand. It's usually only going to work with larger brands. Your brand, if you search in here, you might not find it there. But you can do this same thing for people who are connected to your page. So when we're trying to gather competitive data, we'll use interests here and hope that their data will appear for us. If we're trying to learn about our own people, then we'll check for our page. Now, if we've got really small audiences, again, it's not going to give us some of this data. And I'll explain what you do in that case here in a minute. But let's jump into ColourPop. I'm looking at people in the United States. You could certainly expand this out to the world. All, from 18 up, all genders, people who are interested in ColourPop. And we're able to see a couple of things here. We're able to see other brands that they're interested in. People probably use Morphe brushes, which is a brush company, to be able to put on their ColourPop makeup. They like to read the Let's Do Makeup blog. They like Wet Seal clothing. They like Chris Crocker. I had no idea who Chris Crocker was before. When I was prepping for this video, I decided I should probably look him up. And what's interesting is, if you know who Chris Crocker is, and you can certainly not be in the market, but what I'm trying to say is that if you're interested in ColourPop, if you're the kind of person who would buy ColourPop stuff, and I'm not, nothing against them, it's just I don't wear makeup, right? So, if you are in their market, then you probably know who Chris Crocker is, and I didn't, right? So I'm not in the market. Now, it's not to say that there won't be people who haven't heard of him before, or some of these other brands, but this is kind of a profile. These are the types of things that these people are into. You can actually click on See All and get like 100 or something, different categories or sites that appear in the categories. But these are those that are kind of the top, the things that people are most into when they're doing this. So we see that these people are really interested in beauty, in makeup tutorials, cosmetics and skincare. There's not like, they don't shop at Target, or if they do shop at Target, they don't have a strong affinity for it because it doesn't appear at this top part of the list, right? But these are the kinds of things they're interested in. These are the kinds of things that they're spending time with online. So, we can picture now. I looked on the demographics tab and I saw that 2% of their audience is male and 98% is female. And that's kind of more traditional avatar, but it is good to know that you're speaking primarily to women. So these are women who are interested in beauty. They're interested in makeup and health and cosmetics, personal care, those kinds of things, right? So we can when we talk to if we're doing marketing for ColourPop, when we talk to their audience, we do it mindful of these things, that these are the things that they're interested in. We can even go to the extent of reading the kinds of things that these people are saying, because I'll tell you, all of these companies are currently doing a good job of communicating with their market, with their audience online. So there's a lot we can learn from them. Let's move to the next example. Jeffree Star Cosmetics. Looking at old school avatars, you might say, okay, well, this person's female and they're probably married, right? But if you look here, we've got nearly a three-way tie for single, in a relationship, and married. They're not, I guess they're not engaged. Well, most people aren't engaged. So so it's what we're seeing here is we're seeing a proportionate spread across everything. So you can't say, okay, I'm targeting a woman named Molly and she's married and she's got 3 kids and she drives a Subaru, and like you would with a traditional avatar creation. Instead, let's look. You're also going to see some overlap between Jeffree Star's audience and ColourPop's, who we just looked at. You'll notice that they're also interested in Let's Do Makeup, more so than ColourPop's were, because you can see it's up here at the top, right? But you'll notice a couple of other things. These people like Morphe brushes too. Guess what? When you're shooting product shots, if you're doing how-to videos or things like that, I would use Morphe brushes, because Morphe brushes are what our people know, or what Jeffree Star's people know, and what ColourPop's people know, right? So there are ways to pull from these. Maybe there are collaborations that you can do. I have no idea if these companies would ever want to collaborate with Morphe brushes, but Morphe brushes probably gets hit up all the time for collaborations. But this is one that might make sense if you're Jeffree Star Cosmetics, right? So you want to look for ways to align yourself with these brands, right? If I was a startup company and I'm trying to go after the same kinds of people that Jeffree Star and ColourPop are, man, I'm going to shoot videos, and I'm going to use Morphe brushes, and I'm going to teach people how to do makeup. Everybody that is into Jeffree Star, not everybody, but a lot of bodies are interested in Let's Do Makeup. So you can bet I'm going to try and get my product placed on Let's Do Makeup, and I'm going to learn how they're talking to their audience, and I'm going to talk to them the same way, right? And again, we see that these aren't married women, and these aren't single women, and these aren't women in a relationship. These are women, and I think the ratio for these guys was like 96% women, 4% men. So we're primarily talking to women, all women, right? Women who are into doing really nice makeup, right? This isn't your casual makeup user that's buying Revlon from Walmart, right? This is a woman who is paying attention. She's watching makeup tutorials. She's buying nice stuff. She's buying the expensive brushes. She also knows who Chris Crocker is. She wears Wet Seal and Aeropostale. We can get a lot of information about her, and not that we're going to target her the way we would with a typical avatar, but as we see this picture of her as a whole woman, a woman who takes care of her makeup, is interested in health and beauty, and really wants to look nice. This isn't a casual woman who just puts on a little bit of eyeliner and she's done. Nothing against that woman. I'm just saying these are people who are doing paying high levels of attention to their makeup. So that's what we want to talk to them about. If I were testing styling for ads for this company, I would probably dress the models in Wet Seal or Aeropostale. Now, Jeffree Star doesn't. I'm not saying he has to or he should. His brand is very well defined, and it's got a clear voice, and the messaging is consistent and good. And it's the way that they've chosen to go, which I might not choose that way to go if I were representing the brand. But they've identified their voice, and they're speaking to their people in a certain way. You should look at how they're doing it, because they're doing a great job. People are responding to them, and they're speaking effectively. They're communicating well with their audience. Let's move on to Soko Glam. So this is a Korean beauty company. I don't know if they're like a Korean company, but it's like Korean beauty is a kind of a subset of beauty and cosmetics and everything. And so if you're into Korean beauty, you know it. These people may not be the same people who are using ColourPop and Jeffree Star, right? And we'll see that as we look through some of this stuff. So they're interested in completely different skincare companies. I don't see Morphe brushes on here. They're not. Maybe some of them use Morphe brushes. Maybe you don't even need brushes when you're using their stuff. I don't know. I'm not an expert on Soko Glam. But they like West Elm furniture. That tells you something about what kind of aesthetic appeals to them. They subscribe to Birchbox. They use Aveda. They're interested in these different things. They shop at the health food store, right? Thrive Market. If you hit see all and scroll a little bit further down, I bet you're going to find they're interested in Whole Foods also, Whole Foods Market. So they shop on Etsy. They're interested in handmade things or craft type things. So, this is a woman where you're maybe not going to talk to her about these high level makeup tutorials. You might do makeup tutorials, but they're not going to be like the higher, flashier type makeup that you might see with a ColourPop or a Jeffree Star ad or something like that, right? It's a different voice because they're talking to a different person who's interested in different things. So you can learn, go to the Madewell social media pages and website and look at how they're talking to people, because chances are a similar set of voice and messaging is going to resonate with the women that are shopping here. Okay. So there's plenty of differences between these guys and the other two that we looked at, and every brand's going to have those things that make them unique. And so you need to get to know your audience. You need to talk about different things. Ezra Firestone teaches that, I love what he teaches, that there's a conversation that's already happening online and social media, and our job as marketers is to join that conversation. And so that's what these guys are doing, and that's what we've got to do. Is we've got to see what people are talking about, what people are interested in. Are they? I don't know. Anyhow, so that's what you want to get to. Is you want to drill down and figure it out. Now, let's say that you can't come in here and connect to your page and get results because maybe your audience isn't large enough, and that's fine. I invest in a baby shoe brand, right? So for the purpose of this video, I went and I Googled soft sole baby shoes, because that's the kind of shoes that this brand makes. And just because I wanted to give you an example here, and I looked at who was advertising and who appeared in the top couple of results, and I checked and saw that Freshly Picked had an interest here, and Petiped Footwear had an interest here. So I've pulled both of those together. And what you can do is you can go in and say, okay, well, while I don't know exactly who my people are interested in, I know, kind of like Jeffree Star and ColourPop have a similar audience in some ways. You can say, okay, well, I know that people who, we compete with Freshly Picked and Petiped for our shoes, right? And so let's see who their customers are, and maybe I can learn something about that, because there's certainly some overlap. And then I can structure my marketing around that. And of course, as I go, I may learn that there are some differences, and I can adjust and be agile. But this is a way better start than sitting down with a notepad and being like, okay, well, they're women, they're probably age 25 to 34, and they're heavy credit card users, and they love social media, and they have 2.1 children, and the youngest is between 6 and 18 months, right? And all the kinds of things that you used to do. Now you've got real data. You're not just guessing, you're looking at what's going on with these. So I can see, they like Aiden and Nay, which makes wraps and other baby accessories. And they're interested in DockATot, which is a little baby lounger, and Copper Pearl, they do like baby bibs and other things like that. Baby Bling Bows, which makes these stretchy nylon bands. And, you can see Honest Company, Disney on Ice, Pampers, they've got kids in diapers, right? Lots of different people, Rags, they make a cute little romper, right? So you can get a feel for the kind of women that are shopping at Freshly Picked and Petiped. This is another these are brands that also appeal heavily toward women, which is fine. Women spend a lot of money online. Some of the best projects that I work on serve women. So you're able to go through and kind of get this same information, which is really important to have. So what I would do if I had a baby shoe brand and I didn't know where to get started, I would come and I'd do some research, and I'd say, okay, well, these are two brands, and maybe I'd put 5 in here if they were close competitors. And I'd look at their social media and say, yeah, I think this is kind of the feel that I want. And then I would come and I'd put them in here, and then I'd start going through these. And when you hit the show all that appears at the bottom here, I hit it so you can start to see some more. But it'll go like, I think it's 100 categories. It's a whole bunch of categories. And then I would go through and I would click through. If you click on these, it goes to their Facebook page. And you can go right to their Facebook page and be able to see what they're saying, what they're posting. Are they using a lot of product images, lifestyle shots, customer testimonials? Like the things that these people are saying a lot of are the kinds of things that you can say. Obviously, it needs to be in your voice and kind of stem from a place of what you stand for. But this is important. So I would go through and I would learn from all these people, and I'd spend a whole day going through it. And it will be time well spent. You'll learn a ton, and you'll get plenty of ideas. Even as you go through and you look at the social media posts from these companies, look and see which ones are getting the most engagement. Like giveaways will get high engagement. Giveaways don't turn into great sales usually. I don't like running those for the brands that I work with typically, but you'll be able to see, oh, this picture of a brand new newborn, that was in the NICU and had, tubes in its nose and that kind of thing. These really got really high engagement, and then you can try and figure out why. Oh, it's because it's a, human interest story and that kind of thing, right? I'm just making stuff up here, but that's how you do it, right? You go in, you figure out who you're talking to, and the way you're going to figure out who you're talking to is by looking at this kind of data and seeing who you're sharing the audience with. Because I got news for you. My baby shoe brand, these are all of our competitors, and most of them don't sell baby shoes, right? But we're competing for the same audience. When I run an ad for our baby shoe company, I'm competing against Nene, Jujube, Freshly Picked, all these people, right? Even though they're not direct competitors, most of them, some of them are, but even though most of them aren't direct competitors, I'm competing for that same audience. And so not only are you doing market research by doing this, you're also doing competitive research by going in and looking at these people. Because if my audience really is people who are interested in Freshly Picked and Petaped, these are the folks I'm competing against. So that's what I've got for you today. If you have any questions, head on over to Fat Bullfrog or just post them in the comments for this video, and I will get back with you as soon as I can. Anyhow, and man, have a good one. See ya.